I asked, and most of you said that you wanted installments of what I was doing with this saw. So, to give you a bit of backstory, I was in hospital a couple of days ago, didn't have a great time. Nothing to worry about moving forward, maybe. Yeah, so yesterday I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. Today, I'm just doing a simple thing. So this video is not going to be special. I'm using just the normal microphone on the phone. I'm not plugging anything in because this guerrilla filming seemed to go down okay on the last one when I talked about this video. We will get back to filming properly, but this is for me today to make me feel better, and I figured it just might be useful to include in a video as well. So yeah, but the stand that this bad boy is on is just far too big. It doesn't fit in the workshop at all, and so I'm going to cut that in half, which is also going to mean that I've got to move two of the wheels a little bit closer in, and that'll be fine. Then after that, the way I'm going to do that, I've got a bit of OSB on top of the machine. I'm going to turn the whole thing upside down. I'm going to tape the OSB to the top of it so I don't get sort of concrete and nasties from the driveway, because I can't turn it upside down in the garage. Yeah, so I'm going to turn it upside down, sort out the base, turn it back over again. Once I've turned it back over, I think I am going to give it just a brief clean up on the cast iron, just so I can sort of figure out if there is any kind of real deep kind of dinks in it or anything. But then after that, it'll be a case of I will take it off the stand itself. Once it's off the stand, I can turn it upside down onto a workbench. I can take the body off it, and then I can look at the innards and figure out exactly what's going on. Like I've said before, I think the worm drive, which I believe is supposed to be attached to this end of this. I think this is the locking mechanism. I think this is where the handle, the wheel, used to be. Possibly. This is, I'm not entirely sure how, I mean, this is clearly the pointer for the angle thingy at the front, but I'm not entirely sure how it works or why it works or anything about it working. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, I think the worm drive went on the end of here. Now, the thing is with this worm drive situation, or the worm gear rather, is that you can't buy them. I've spoken to a couple of companies in the UK that sell spares for old machines. They can't do it because Rexon apparently pulled out 5 years ago, and you just can't get spares for them. So, and yeah, did I tell you that I figured out this is a Rexon RXW10? I think. Anyway, it was rebadged under a bunch of different names, mass produced all over the place. And can you find spares for them? Can you, buggery? So, yeah, it's a bit annoying, but there we go. Anyway, back to the worm gear. The worm gear, unlike modern sort of affordable saws, which are usually just threaded bars going into a thing, the worm gear drives the lift up and down. Now, there isn't one. I haven't got one for this one because it's been lost. So, because you can't buy them as spares, because I can't find any drawings, I can't find any parts numbers, I can find nothing. So I think I'm going to have to measure the worm drive that's inside the saw, and that is going to give me the teeth per inch. I'll then get the angle of those as well, hopefully, and then I'm going to try and design and 3D print one that should go on here, and I'll 3D print a big like spinny handle thing as well. Yeah, I'll 3D print that bad boy to go on there, and we'll see if it works. Once I can get the measurements and the sizes and all that sort of stuff right, I doubt a PLA 3D print, even with 100% infill, is going to be as solid as it needs to be. It might be, but who knows. But once I've got that sorted out, then I can look for a metal version of it, you know. Anyway, so step one, turn this upside down, take the wheels off, cut it in half, put the wheels back on. 1. 2 is to clean up the top, and 3 is to take it to bits. Now, I'm not feeling my best today, and my back's hurting, and it's all going a bit tits, but I need to do something positive. Like I've said before, it's not, you know, an illness that defines you, it's what you do about it. So I am going to get something positive happening today. Might kill myself in the process, but I'm going to make it happen. Let's see how it goes. Brilliantly, the person that put this together didn't worry about the screws sticking out of the bottom of this, but it is some nice looking ply, so I'll have like that much nice ply to use on something. Aces. But yes, try not to stab myself again. At least they use torque screws, so that's useful. What's less useful is the fact that these have got nuts on, fine and dandy, but these are carriage bolts. So you'd think, oh, lovely old job, that's under there. But no, that seems to be in the frame. Now, I know you probably can't see what I'm doing, but if you haven't got a socket adapter for your impact driver, you're missing out. I'll leave a link below. How did they drive these in so you can't get the fucking things out? I got a set of these grips years ago and they are absolutely superb. This is the littlest one and they go up to be massive, but to grab hold of stuff, they're fantastic. Hey, I've got six swivel casters as well, and 4 of them have the brakes, 2 of them don't. So that's almost the price of the 45 quid I paid for the whole saw, so jobs are good. So before I cut this off, I've still got these honking great screws hanging through here. So I'm going to use the grinder to just flatten those out. Literally just stabbed myself on it while I'm talking to you. This is my JCB grinder, by the way, and using this for quick changes, this little thing, rather than having to get a spanner out, excellent. I think this is the quietest grinder I've ever used as well, which is marvellous. Going to get the tracks all right, but that was easier. Right, I'm going to put one of those wheels there because this side's got one, and one of the non-locking ones at the back. I'm using these Forge Fix 5x20. None of this pre-drilling nonsense. Much more manageable size base on the bottom now. Okay. So that's what we're looking at with that. WD-40, if you want to sponsor the channel, please feel free to get in touch. Well, that's been sitting on there a couple of minutes, as has that leaf. Gonna get the old sander going. Got my Menza. Six-inch jobby there, and I'm going to be using Smirdex 120 to start with. I'm going to start off at number 4 rather than number 9. Interesting to see that the sander isn't getting right up to the end, so we might have a bent bit of mat layer there. Let's see if we've made any difference before we put a fresh disc on. Oh, we're definitely getting there. We are definitely getting there. Okay, so you can't see it overly well, but it's not half as bad as it was. We've got a lot of this kind of black stuff going on, but this is the untreated side. Treated, untreated, treated. We can get this going. Okay, so it is making quite a significant difference to like that side. Obviously, we're getting progress, but something that I am noticing is that that's not too deep. Oops, that's not too deep right there. There's quite a deep crack there, I think. But we've got a lot of scratches and it feels really smooth already. But yeah, we've got a lot of these kind of big old scratches going on, which as long as they don't go all the way through, shouldn't be too much of a problem because it's still solid enough to put bits of wood on. It's not going to upset that at all. So yeah, I'm not going to try and get this perfect today. I'm just trying to get it, you know, in better shape so it doesn't get worse. Okay, so that's what it was like. You can see how nasty that is. And this is what it looks like now. Which, I mean, it's still far from perfect. It really is. But, you know, I mean, it's flat and it's smooth. And at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for. So I'm pretty pleased with how that's come out. It's taken a little bit longer than I would have liked today. And I've got to go indoors and do grown-up stuff now. So I won't be able to carry on with it. But yeah, hopefully this will show you what just a little bit of elbow grease and some simple tools does. I've used my Menza sander for a majority of it. Well, for all of it, in fact. And then I couldn't have done it without the Smirdex discs. And then I tried using some Smirdex 320 wet and dry just to see what that would be like. But that didn't work overly well. So I couldn't really attach it to the sander. So I put one of them burgundy Brillo pad thingies on there instead, and then just gave it a wipe down with some degreaser. And yeah, I think it's looking pretty darn sweet now. So for the haters that said that it was going to be pointless, hopefully we can see where it's going. Right, and that endeth today's episode.